Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy is brought to you in part by Tom's Place. For the finest in men's fashion, Tom's Place will suit you. Located in Toronto at 190 Baldwin Street in the heart of Kensington Market. Or visit toms-place.com. This is Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
Where is the most remote place on Earth?
He didn't give her enough of this, and she filed for divorce? Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy, and this week we scoured the internet to bring you useless information just for you.
Plus, we will answer the question in the mailbag. And in the news, she didn't hear the herd of cows.
Totally useless information. It's everything you never needed to know.
Did you hear what I did there? She didn't hear the herd of cows. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Thank you very much for joining us. We're really excited today because, well, when we have a guest, it forces us to clean up the studio. And Roy, do you think we did a good job?
Yes, Nick. You always do a wonderful job of cleaning.
He always says that every time we have a guest. Well, today we have Ami, which he calls himself. Is it Serial Life? What do you call yourself, Ami?
You know, Serial Life is great.
Okay.
Mr. Serial Life.
Mr. Yes. Oh, Mr. Oh, okay, all right. When you eat that much cereal, it's
pronouns.
Mr.
Yeah.
Yes, pronouns. So how many bowls of cereal do you eat a week?
Oh, my gosh. For business or pleasure? In total, I probably eat about 50 bowls a week.
Wait, what do you mean? Hold on. What do you mean business or pleasure? Isn't it always for pleasure?
I love cereal. I review a lot of cereal. All the companies send me a lot of cereal from around the world. So I think 50 is a safe number.
That's a lot of bowls of cereal. I guess you could call him a serial killer.
Oh, he's never, ever heard that before, right? I mean, so for the very first time ever, he's heard serial killer.
You eat cereal. That's it. You don't eat meat or any other type of product other than cereal, correct?
I eat everything. It's not a completely cereal diet. It's not like anti-keto or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
I do try to get to the gym every day. So let me preface that. I do have a history of diabetes in my family, so this isn't safe. But what I will say is that I do love cereal. Cereal is great. Most of it is sugary cereal. I typically eat it when I get home. I don't eat it in the morning. It gives me a bit of a sugar crash. But I love cereal. I can go on and on about it.
So you love cereal. I mean, everyone loves cereal, but the sugary ones, of course, like the Cocoa Pebbles and the sugar cornflakes, and I mean, Sugar Crisp, right? I mean, they're all...
Nick doesn't. You see, Nick doesn't eat cereal. You call them Cocoa Pebbles. It's Cocoa Puffs.
No. It's Cocoa Pebbles.
Pebbles is fruity Pebbles.
Oh, Fruity Pebbles. You're right.
Well, there's both. Actually, you guys are both right. There's Cocoa Puffs, and then there's also Cocoa Pebbles. Cocoa Puffs is with Sonny the Bird, and then the Cocoa Pebbles are the Fruity Pebbles variety. It's like the brown Flintstones type cereal.
What's your favorite cereal? If you had to pick, because you're a cereal aficionado, what would be considered your favorite cereal and why?
Favorite cereal, it's a tough question, but I have answered this before, so I got to go with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but not the normal variety. There was a limited edition peanut variety. So it was a peanut butter toast crunch, which was off the chain good. They got to bring that back ASAP. It just had, if you like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you like peanut butter, they made a baby. It's amazing.
Yes. I don't want to know how they made the baby, but speaking of prices, do you collect any of the boxes that have specially marked boxes with prizes inside? Do you collect some of those prizes as well?
Oh, all the time. But the things that sucks is that the prizes were fantastic back even when I was a kid. I'm sure when you guys were kids, they were like amazing. Right now, these prizes are all like, buy 7 boxes and enter a code online, right? It's not the same as it used to be. Used to be you dig through the cereal, just to get the prize. and then you deal with the cereal later.
When Nick was a kid, if he got a prize, he literally had to dive off a boat for it because it was like during the pirate days, in the 1600s.
I'm not Johnny Depp here, for goodness sakes. My favorite cereal actually is Crispix because it stays. I don't know what the advertisement is, but it really does stay crispy longer, even in milk. It's really good.
Yeah, it's got some technology there with the holes, and it's kind of like a Chex almost. If you're a big crunch guy, you like a crunch. I mean, get over to Chex and try the peanut butter edition of Chex. I don't know if it's still
okay.
If it's up in Canada or just the States, but that's my recommendation for you.
Now, you are in Canada. You reside in Canada.
See, I'm diabetic.
Oh,
sorry to hear that.
Oh,
Roy.
You live in Canada, Ami?
Yes,
Okay.
I live in I live in Canada. I spend a lot of time in Florida, but I do live in Canada.
What part of Florida do you come to, Ami?
I go to Miami Beach often. I got some cousins there in the Surfside area, and it's always a great time because it allows me to stock up on the cereal, stuff it in a suitcase, and bring it back. Nick and I were talking yesterday about having a mule. It's very important for any sort of cereal lover to have a mule, and Nick tells me that you are his mule. You bring him back cereal?
No. You got that wrong. He is a mule, not my mule. He is a mule.
I'm a mule, but Nick's an ass.
It all works out. So are you telling us now? You're actually admitting now. So any of the authorities who are listening, you're smuggling some cereals across the border.
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely am. I do declare it. Okay?
I was going to ask you, do you have to declare it?
I declare it, but I kind of brush it off. I say, oh, do you have anything over the? I got some cereal. I got a tuna sandwich. I slip it in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. That's fine.
I was saying before, I'm a diabetic.
Okay.
So for me, cereal has to be non-sugar. So I like Cheerios and maybe like regular cornflakes, and then I load it with aspartame to give it some flavor,
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
If the sugar won't kill you, the aspartame will eventually. I also like bran flakes because after a certain age, I think what happens is you eat cereal not because you enjoy it, but it's out of necessity. So after a certain age, I had to go to bran flakes, and they're pretty good.
Nick did that in 1962 when Nick turned 65 years old.
Please.
He started eating bran flakes.
Listen, don't listen because he is 2 months older than I am. So, he gets a little senile every once in a while. Now, speaking of like cereals with iron, they found that they have so much of the iron properties in it that if you take a magnet to it, it'll actually attract the cereal to the magnet. That's how much actual iron is in some of those cereals they found.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, so by this rate, I'll be flying.
Yeah.
Up to the moon.
I was just going to say that's amazing. Like, how is that they fortify it with iron?
Well, isn't that what they say? Fortified with vitamins and iron. With some of them, right?
That's new to me. That's pretty interesting.
See, we're totally useless information, Ami. We listen, laugh, and learn. No, I mean, we're not mocking you. I think it's really incredible. It's something like this. So why are you so obsessed with cereal? Like, did you eat a lot of cereal growing up and you thought this is what I want to do when I get older and just attract so many people on TikTok and Instagram? Is that what your dream was?
I always knew that I wanted to do something useless. So it's actually great that I'm here. I love cereal. I mean, I'm one of 5 kids. My mom would bring home like one healthy box, one sugary box a week, and we'd attack that sugary box, So cereal was a big cultural thing in my house for sure. And it's easy to make. What can I tell you? But what I like to say is when you're born on this earth, the first thing you drink is milk. And then the first thing you eat is cereal. So really, cereal found me.
So you put milk in your cereal, right? Not like almond milk or anything like that.
I'm a 2% guy. Yeah, classic blue top. Yeah.
Yeah, Nick's in the 2% too. Education.
Actually, I drink 1%. And I was actually on drinking a lot of almond milk. I put almond milk in my coffee. I put almond milk in my bran flake cereal. But I was told by a dietitian that I'm not getting enough vitamin D, and so I went back to regular milk, but it's 1%. But so do you drink? Do you use soy milk or any other type of milk, or exclusively 2% milk?
I do like. I have a newfound taste for oat milk. I don't know if you guys are oat milk people. Like the almond and the cashew, like they're not bad. They're okay, but nothing quite, I guess, imitates the taste of milk than like a creamy oat milk. Yeah.
That's all right.
Have you ever had a one called, and I'm not pushing this product, there's a product out there called 8 Continents, and it's a fake milk. I don't actually know what, if it's almond or soy or oat. It might be a mixture of all of them. It's called 8 Continents, and it's very hard to find, but it is exceptional. You would think you're drinking milk, to be honest.
I'm gonna write that down. 8 continents. That sounds it sounds great.
Yeah, 8 Continents, as opposed to Nick, who's incontinent.
No,
Is this show all about making fun of Nick? Is that what we're here
no,
to do?
no. So in doing some of the research, I also found out that Frosted Flakes was what was the slogan? They are great, right? That's the slogan. Tony the Tiger.
Tony the Tiger.
Well, one of the original voices of Tony the Tiger was Thurl Ravenscroft, and if you don't know what that name is, he's the guy who sang "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." So he was the one
That's
of
useless.
the many voices of Tony the Tiger. And speaking of almond and stuff, so Honey Nut Cheerios. You're thinking, wow, they must have some honey nuts in there. No nuts. They're basically Unix cereals, is what they are. They actually have natural almond flavor because they crush up peach pits. Because peaches are
'Cause
part
peach
of
is
the
in the almond family.
There you go. So Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yes.
What was it?
You guys said that together in unison, like you were like you guys actually knew this fact.
No. In fact, you know what
No?
We do these things, and we've had where like roses are in that same family, and peaches. When you eat a peach, you look inside and you can actually see the almond. It's an almond in there.
They're in the same family, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
The pit.
Nick and Roy will continue with totally useless information. We're back with totally useless information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
And by the way, you're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. We'll listen to the Serial Life guy, who has just a couple of followers on TikTok. How many followers do you have on TikTok?
Close to 50,000.
Oh, that's all. And
More on Instagram.
And Instagram. So are these people who are also cereal fanatics, or they're just curious about you eating so much cereal?
I think a mix of both, but mostly it's just a community, right? Serial Life is just a place for folks who love cereal to come and check out news, nostalgia, and crazy creations that I cook up in my kitchen. And we just celebrate cereal together.
So I'm going to ask you, could be like a sacrilegious question. Do you mix two cereals together?
It's a good question. I used to love to do that.
Okay.
I think that some cereals go really well together. I mean, you take like a Honey Nut Cheerios and you take an Apple Jacks and you got something special. You got like, or even you got like an apple cinnamon type flavor, right?
Yeah.
You can take a little bit of Cinnamon Toast Crunch and, you hit it with some chocolate and you got a whole other thing. You got like a s'mores type of experience. So I think that there's a lot of room for that. One of the dreams is to make a cookbook one day, a Serial Life cookbook, which is like, for people who can't cook, like, and you just mix some cereal, so have some concoctions and stuff like that.
It's the ultimate fast food, right? I mean, you just need some milk and a box of cereal, and there you go. No lineups required.
And Ami's got to be like the guy that walks over, like the waiter with the white napkin on his arm, and he's like, well, I think that a nice apple toast cinnamon crunch would go well with that.
But hold on,
great.
but
It's like fine wine.
It's funny you should say that because some people have considered a Serial Life guy, Ami, a cereal sommelier.
That's right. There
you go.
I was blessed to have an opportunity to offer Questlove, the face of the Roots band
from the Tonight Show. Wow.
Exactly. And with cereal for his parties, he does these game nights. He loves cereal. His birthday party, and with a lot of A-list celebrities show up, and essentially they they play games, eat cereal, have ice cream, snacks like that. It's like a really cool vibe. So they reached out to me. They said, hey, can you pick out 20 of your top cereals for this party? I said, I'm on it. So I went ahead, did a couple parties, and on the final party, they were like, oh, we want to step it up a notch this time. Can you make a custom Questlove Crunch cereal? Oh. In which I did, and they all got a little party bag, little loot bag of Questlove Crunch to go. So it was like I wish I was there. I couldn't make any of the parties, but A-listers, right? Like Taylor Swift, Trevor Noah,
wow,
Channing Tatum. I mean, the list goes on.
Who's Taylor Swift?
I don't know, some up and coming artists that you may hear about or not. And doing some of the research, let me ask you this: have you ever had Frankenberry cereal?
Oh, of course. I have Frankenberry cereal, and I have Frankenberry Crocs. They made Crocs with Frankenberry's face on them, glow in the dark. They're awesome.
Well, when Frankenberry first came out, it started to freak people out because what was happening was people started to poop pink after they've had a couple of bowls of Frankenberry cereal.
That explains so much.
Yes, it does.
I'm doing it right now.
What I really enjoyed when we had what was it, Count Chocula, is that after you ate the bowl of cereal, your milk became chocolate milk, and so at the end of the cereal experience, we were really thrilled as kids. Okay, it was last week. We drank chocolate milk after we had the cereal experience. It was awesome.
My favorite cereal by far, as a kid, was Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch was, and then it had the Crunch Berries, of course. So, that was an
excellent
bonus.
Excellent.
And you eat the Crunch Berries out dry and then eat the Captain Crunch.
Have you ever eaten cereal dry?
Yeah, I eat it. Captain Crunch is a great variety. It's great cereal to eat dry. The thing about it is that a lot of people say it like attacks the roof of your mouth. It's like jagged almost, sharp. So there's this meme online. People always say, rest in peace, roof of my mouth, sort of thing.
Wow. Are you a lucky?
Yeah, Captain Crunch-ish. It is. It's a pretty rough cereal to eat dry. You got to soak that one in milk. Yeah, they actually get better, I think, as they get soggy.
Yeah, slop cereal, yummy. Are you a Lucky Charms connoisseur?
I do enjoy some Lucky Charms, but my mom actually, she didn't buy a lot of cereals with marshmallows. She just thought that she drew the line at marshmallows.
Okay.
So I
got to draw it somewhere, Ami.
Exactly. At least pretend to be healthy, right? So we didn't have a lot of Lucky Charms in my house growing up. So I didn't really, develop a tasting for Lucky Charms really at a young age. So it isn't in my top 10, but it is a cereal that I think deserves its place in cereal in the cereal kingdom.
My mom used to bring home Lucky Charms to my brother. She found out they were magically delicious, and she was hoping that he'd magically disappear.
So some of the was it moons and hearts and everything else? Well, the pink hearts specifically are the only ones that are there from the very start, because they would change the different marshmallows for various reasons, but the pink hearts are the only ones that have been there from the very, very start.
Yeah. Cool.
Pink. Yeah, why not red hearts, right? Wouldn't you want hearts to be red, not pink?
Well, you would think. Who knows? I don't know, but
yeah.
But then
confusing to me.
It is, and then you'd poop pink. If you ate.
So see, I would rather have the cereal have red hearts, possibly blue balls.
Boy, on that sour note, Ami, thank you so much for joining us. We are so thrilled to find out. And where can people find out your adventures? How can people get in touch with you or follow you?
Well, thanks, Nick and Roy, for having me on for sure. Check me out on Instagram. That's Instagram.com/seriallife, one word, or just go into Instagram, search Serial Life, one word, no spaces. I'm the guy with the face, so you'll see me.
Thank you, Ami, for joining us on Total Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Take care, guys. All the best.
You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Throw away your totally useless GPS. It's time for geography. So get lost with Nick and Roy.
I could just picture that lady in one of those like safari hats and a whip.
I just picture that lady in a safari hat.
Wow, I'll make sure she hears that. So where are we going in your world of geography? Where are you taking us today?
I'm taking you to Damascus, Syria.
Ah, are you serious?
I'm serious.
Okay.
Listen, the longest ongoing inhabited city in the world is Damascus, Syria. Over 11,000 years, people have lived there continually, with over 125 monuments dating back to the 3rd millennium BC. Now, think about that. It has been an ongoing city for 11,000 years. That's pretty much around the time Nick was born.
Yes.
By the way, 1.7 million people live in the city of Damascus.
Wow. That's a lot of people. Have you ever been to Bermuda?
I have.
Have you ever worn Bermuda shorts? No, just kidding. Now,
I do, but I don't wear undergarments with them.
oh no, see, that's my fault. You went there because I took you there. The Bermudas surrounding the secluded fishhook-shaped Bermuda Islands are patches of stunningly beautiful aquamarine water, which I'm sure you can agree with. I've never been there, so
It's in like an aqua green. It's beautiful.
These are the shallows of the Sargasso Sea, clearly delineating treacherous reefs. Scores of ships have floundered on them over the centuries, making Bermuda the shipwreck capital of the world.
You know, Nick, I really don't give a shit.
That's right. I guess, wait, they were floundering. Was it a fishing boat? That's what I want to know.
Something fishy about that.
That's why I don't give a shit.
Nick and Roy will continue with totally useless information. To access the full library of episodes, visit nickandroy.com. That's nickandroy.com.
Nick and Roy for Tom's Place.
It's the Family Day sale, Nick, and it'll run through the month of February. The Family Day sale.
I know, because here are some of the incredible deals.
Selected Lipson dress shirts, Nick, regularly $149 to $199. These are super quality shirts. $50.
Cashmere sweaters, men's and women's, regularly $250, now only $75.
That's nuts. Selected designer suits. I love this one. Normally $599, now between $149 and $199. Those are $600 suits, Nick. They're amazing.
How much is the price from what?
They're regularly $599. The suits are between $149 and $199 if you get there for the family sale.
Wow. Esco and other designer suits, buy one for $350 or two for $600.
Sport jackets, normally $750 each. Cut them in half.
Well, no, how would
Not
you...
the jacket.
Oh,
not the
I was going to
jacket,
say,
the
how would you
price.
wear them? Oh, 50% off. I see. Okay. Designer and casual and dress pants from $99 when Roy wears them. 3/4
length winter coats, regularly $898 to $998. Sale price $650. It's almost $1,000 coat. You got to see the quality of this stuff.
But for this special deal, tell them that Nick and Roy sent you, and that same code is now $325. It's the Tom's Place Family Day weekend sale and a month-long celebration of 66 years in business.
Tom's late father started the family business in 1958. At Tom's Place, everyone is treated like family.
For more information, visit toms-place.com, toms-place.com, or visit our website, nickandroy.com, and click on the Tom's Place logo.
Tom's Place is located at 190 Baldwin Street in the heart of Kensington Market in Toronto.
Tom's Place will suit you. Let them show you how.
You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
Santa. Nick knows a lot about Santa because
What?
Nick is Mr. Saint Nick.
Is it because my name is Nick? Is that it?
No, you know why,
I
Nick.
know. Yeah, I do play the character of Santa Claus every December. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Nick does a great job of it. He's a great Santa.
Thank you.
Santa lives on an island.
Yes, I do.
No.
Oh,
If he lives in the North Pole, which he says he does, then he lives on an island because the ice is not connected to any landmass.
wow.
So the North Pole actually sits on an island.
I wish, of course, sometimes it would be the Bermuda Island, but it's okay. So recently, the great soccer player Pele passed away.
Yes.
Now, he was one of the greatest football players of all time. I know not that football, but the European football, soccer. Now, he's buried at the world's tallest cemetery. The Memorial Ecumenical Cemetery is a high-rise that holds the Guinness World Record for the tallest cemetery on Earth. 14 stories high and occupies a total of 1.8 hectares of land and contains about 16,000 graves. Tallest cemetery in the world.
And Pele's buried there?
He is, yes. He bought it a few years ago, and he's in one of the mausoleums there, one of the 16,000 graves.
I bet you if he knew he was there, he'd get a kick out of it.
That's right.
But when you walk up, you hear, go.
That's right.
That's what you say when you're falling down the mountain. Go. The most remote place on Earth, this was my tease, and I know you people are all excited to know where the most remote place is on Earth, and you're also excited to know about Tom's, but here we go now. The most remote place on Earth is not Nick's house.
Wow. Even I knew that.
It's called Point Nemo.
Oh.
Officially called the Oceanic Point of Inaccessibility. Okay, now Nemo meaning nowhere or no name. Crazy, right?
So when they're talking about finding Nemo, they'll never find it because they don't know where it is.
No. Well, Nemo is actually officially known as the Point of Inaccessibility. It is 1,000 miles away from any landmass around it. 1,000 or more miles away. Now, wait, this gets even better.
Yeah.
The closest object to Point Nemo at any given time is the space station, which is 258 miles above it.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yes. How crazy is that?
Wow. So again,
I just figured I'd make that a point.
it was, when they say, hey, you're going nowhere fast, that's where you're going.
I guess that's, what was the show called? Finding Nemo?
Finding Nemo. Yeah, I think it was a movie.
There you go. That's why they did it. Yes.
Yeah. So now I understand, and when your wife books you a trip to Nemo, I'd start to worry.
Yeah, I know. I booked you a beautiful cruise to Nemo.
To Nemo, in the middle of nowhere. Now, I live in Toronto. Roy's in Fort Myers, Florida. Up here in Toronto, we have the claim of having the shortest ferry ride in the world. The ferry ride from Billy Bishop Airport, which is like an island airport in downtown Toronto, is one of the shortest in the world at 121 meters. How much is 121 meters? Let's put it this way. It takes you 90 seconds for the whole trip.
Do they charge you for it?
Yeah, they do. I'm going to look it up live here as we go, but let's see how much it is.
It's a ferry ride for what, 90 seconds?
90 seconds.
Do people that don't have the money just say, hell, I'll just swim over?
Well, it is a lake, so it's not like it's not like sharks or anything like that.
No. There's some snakes, especially if I'm swimming in the water.
That's right.
If I poured a bucket of water, Nick, at the start of the Mississippi River.
Yes.
Okay. Let's just say I poured a bucket of water and it had blue dye in it.
Okay.
And we followed that bucket of water all the way to the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
It would take 90 days to get there with the flow of the Mississippi. It's 2,348 miles of river. 90 days at the rate of flow from the start of the Mississippi to when the water, one drop of water, takes 90 days to get into the Gulf of Mexico.
How about this Swedish-Japanese town? The Sapporo City, Japan, there's a small village tucked up in the hills called Sweden Hills. Sweden Hills is exactly what it sounds like. It's a mountain village that looks very much like a Swedish town. The town is a sister city to Leksand in Dalarna County, Sweden, and Swedish Hills has adopted many of the country's customs. The relationship between the two towns goes way back, as the planning for the town's building started in 1979. So, Sapporo City, there's a Swedish Hills village. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Thank you very much for joining us. We have over 72 countries, including Japan and Sweden and South Africa. We have listeners in Australia, literally all over the world. And we thank you very much for listening. And we'll tell you all about our mailbag. But first,
Down the Garden Path with Nick and Roy.
Hey, Nick. Speaking about Sweden, did you ever see the movie A Man Called Otto?
no, I haven't yet.
Okay, well, it was redone
Yeah.
by what's his name?
Well, Tom Hanks is in it.
Tom Hanks. I'm not a big Tom Hanks fan.
Okay.
That movie was actually a Swedish movie, A Man Called Ott or something like that. Not Otto, it's like Ott or something like that. But you
Okay.
can look it up. It's on Netflix and it is subtitled. By the way, one of the best movies. It goes into my top 10 of all time movies. It's a fantastic movie. Tom Hanks redid it. It's still a good movie the way Tom Hanks did it, but the original version is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Just had to throw that in there as a little tidbit of information.
Okay.
In fact, we should do that. We should have favorite movies every show.
We should. Or not. A man called Ove. O-V-E.
Yeah.
A
Man Called Ove.
Okay, A Man
Gotta
Called
see
Ove.
it, folks. Trust me. Watch it.
Okay.
And then let us know. Email us. Go to nickandroy.com too, and you can just click on it. You can email us. You can also go to the store at nickandroy.com and see our birthday messages and our newsletter and all kinds of stuff and 200 episodes. Fantastic. Nickandroy.com. Okay, garden path, folks.
Yes.
We're on the garden path.
Mm-hmm.
The vanilla bean is derived from an orchid plant.
Really?
The vanilla bean comes from an orchid variety of plant.
Okay.
Okay. But the Cybidum golden leaf orchid smells exactly like lemons. That plant has a very distinct lemon smell. Then there's one called the Philopinopis velocina,
Mm-hmm.
and that smells exactly like cinnamon. So could you imagine if you grow a whole bunch of these orchids together? It smells like you're in a bakery.
Yes. And what was the name? What was the botanical name? The last one there?
Philenopissus.
Yes.
Philenopissus.
Philemopis. Yes.
Volcea.
Philemopis.
I guess they'll Volcea you pisses.
Right. Yeah, but don't piss on
Smells just like cinnamon.
but don't piss
Tastes
on,
like chicken, Nick. Tastes just like chicken.
don't piss on the plants. So we've all seen carrots in supermarkets, right? You know, Bugs Bunny eats carrots.
Nick, I don't stare at carrots in supermarkets, but
Yes.
I might have looked at a few melons or two, but
Yes.
never a carrot next to two potatoes.
No, and she told you to stop. Now, I don't know if you ever wondered this. Okay, where do carrot seeds come from?
Ooh.
Aha.
Wait a minute. Good question.
That's why we brought it up on Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Carrots are biennial plants.
They're like potatoes, right?
If you leave them in the ground, the tops will flower and produce seeds the second year.
Oh.
There you
So
have
you
it.
got to leave a few to produce the. You know, potatoes are amazing. You could buy like 5 pounds of potatoes.
Right.
You get 10 pounds back. You leave the other 5 in the ground. You get another 5 pounds back, and so on and so on and so on. It just keeps growing. Potatoes are cool.
They are.
If you have a pink hydrangea plant,
Okay.
and for some reason you walk outside the next year and you say, you know, I really hate the color pink.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could add eggshells, coffee grinds, and so on. If you increase the acid in the soil,
Right.
they'll turn blue.
Oh,
Hydrangea's color is justified by the amount of acid in the soil.
that's wild. Okay, so when you see the different colored hydrangeas, there's different acidity levels.
Yes.
Listen, laugh, and learn. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of pink and speaking of gardens, now you live in Florida, and you can admit this to our audience. Our audience are loyal to us. You can admit it to me. We're friends a very long time. Do you own a pink flamingo and you have it on your lawn? Do you own a pink flamingo?
I do not own a pink flamingo. I do not know anyone that owns a pink flamingo. Pink flamingos are normally not indigenous to the place in Florida I am. They're usually found more in the panhandle area of Florida. That's where most of the pink shrimp come from.
Okay.
So that's why the flamingos turn pink.
But these are the pink flamingo lawn ornaments I'm talking about.
Oh, no, I don't have any of those either.
The American artist Don Featherstone designed a pink lawn flamingo in 1957, naming the first Diego. His lawn flamingo, mass-produced by his employer Union Products of Massachusetts, has since become an icon of pop culture that won him the Nobel Prize for Art in 1996. And it is a creative way to wish someone good luck, congratulate them, or just show them that you're thinking of them.
I think they're goofy as hell.
Could you imagine someone just places his pink flamingo on your lawn saying, we're going to wish you good luck. And they're like, get that thing off my lawn. Get off my lawn.
Pink flamingos in Florida are literally targets for cars. We actually give points for the amount that we run over.
Now, but before
And
Peter...
every once in a while, it's, oh, damn, I hit a senior.
Oh, no. I was going to say, before Peter gets on the line, say, no, we're not talking about hitting the live animal pink flamingos. We're talking about the pink flamingo lawn ornament. So put down the phone,
If you hit a
Peter.
senior with a walker, Nick, you get 30 points.
Wow. Without the walker?
Without the walker, it's only like 5 points because they could get away. The ones in the...
That's true. That's true. Wow. Yeah. Remind me not to make Florida one of my destinations. I'd rather go to Nemo.
Yeah, Nemo's a good place for you to go.
Yeah.
There's plenty of cell reception there. You wave to the space station. Most people compost for months.
Yeah.
My dad used to compost. He used to take all the biodegradable garbage and throw it into this big wooden composter thing in the yard. And then every once a year, he'd move it around and whatever the hell he'd do. And 2 years later, he'd use the soil or whatever. Well, the end result is you don't have to do any of that.
No.
Now, my dad is not around anymore. Otherwise, I would tell him. He'd be mad.
Right.
But if you take your eggshells, banana peels, coffee grinds, fruit peels, etc., any organic garbage,
Right.
put it into a small thing on the side, and then take a little shovel, dig a hole, and spread it around the hole, and then put the dirt back.
Okay.
It will compost itself. Amazing, right?
Yes.
I mean, that you just work it into the soil, and it's all good.
And how long does this take? It takes no time at all.
No, it really doesn't take that long because it's just composting. The minute it really hits the soil, it starts to degrade and just keeps feeding the plants and bushes and stuff around it.
Now, I want the audience, you, Roy, and the audience to close your eyes and pretend you're in the backyard, okay? And and there's a light breeze, beautiful sunny day, a light breeze, and you hear the clinking of the wind chimes blowing in the breeze. You hear that?
And then I hear, Roy, do you want another mint julep? And I'm like, no, Heidi Klum, just you. You'll do.
Yes. Well, imagine the sound that this mega chime would make, and the chunk it will take out of your checking account. Clearly, what they're saying is wind chimes are expensive.
They are.
This is nothing but aluminum pieces that are, this is what I found fascinating, they're hand-tuned to the scale of G.
Oh.
There you go.
Wow.
So they might be expensive, but they hand tune them so that when you're hearing it, it's the key of G.
Yeah. You know what happens here in Florida once or twice a year when the hurricanes come through?
What
Those
happens?
wind chimes become torpedoes.
They becomes weapons of mass destruction.
Oh my God. But they make such a beautiful sound of G as they're coming through the window.
Gee, I think we should leave now.
Okay, here, get ready for this one.
Okay.
And this one has a story behind it.
Okay. I'll sit down.
Most people think butterflies, they put flowers, daisies, things like that. They're going to attract butterflies.
Mhm.
It's just the opposite. Butterflies are not attracted to flowers, they're more attracted to weeds.
Oh.
In fact, the milkweed, which I had at a house, I don't have any in this house,
Right.
but I had at another house that I had milkweed all outside. And once a year, the butterflies would come. They would eat the caterpillars, butterflies. They would eat the milkweed down to nothing, to sticks. And then they would turn into butterflies and, and so on. But this week, I visited a friend's house. My friend's name is Greg, super nice guy.
Okay.
He showed me monarch butterfly when the caterpillar goes in and creates the pupa or whatever.
Yeah.
It looks like an acorn, but it's perfectly red with an acorn top on it. And then it looks like it's surrounded by a gold necklace. Nick, I'm going to take a picture of one and send it to you. And we're going to put it on our website.
Yeah.
It is the most interesting thing I've ever looked at. I was like, is that actually like a gold necklace on it? Like, it's very small, but it's so amazing. And he showed me about 10 of them. They're all identical.
Yeah.
It's just so amazing. It's a red acorn looking thing with a gold beading around it. It's just so beautiful too, So I just thought I'd bring that up.
Well, we are in the garden path, on totally useless information with Nick and Roy. So I thought I would share this piece of botanical information. We've
and being that we're smoking botanicals right now.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Every once in a while, we have some names of plants and whatnot that are kind of like curious. But today I present to you the bushy plant, the coxcomb.
Oh, yeah. The old coxcomb.
That's right. It's dense, brain-like flowers, nicknamed wool flowers or brain celosia. Despite its unsettling appearance, coxcomb has a rich history in traditional medicine and has been used to treat everything from headaches to menstrual cramps. Coxcomb.
I almost had a brush with death with coxcomb. The old coxcomb.
Yes.
Yeah. I have one. It's missing a few teeth. But...
You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Happened today is history. What happens tomorrow is history. Yeah.
Poor Zachary Taylor. He passed away.
Who? Zachary Taylor? President Zachary Taylor?
President Zachary Taylor. Poor.
Yeah, Nick knew him very well. They were good friends.
Oh, very good friends. He died on the 4th of July in 1850.
Oh, my God. Nick was only about, 14 then?
That's right. Now, you're thinking, was he assassinated? Nope. He died from a cherry overdose.
I've heard this, but go ahead. Tell us.
President Zachary Taylor passed away after eating way too many cherries and drinking milk. He died on July 9th from gastroenteritis. The acid in the cherries, along with the milk, is believed to have caused his death. So he went to a 4th of July party, and on July the 9th, he died from gastroenteritis.
From eating too much cherries.
Too many cherries and drinking the milk. So it's a combination of the acid in the cherry and the milk. I drink milk every day.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah.
You're a milk drinker. Do you
I-
drink milk every day?
I do in my cereal.
Wepet Renpet.
What?
Yes. Wepetrenpet
What about it?
was the name of ancient Egypt's New Year's Eve celebration.
Oh,
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
See, totally useless, but hey, Wepet Renpet.
okay.
Now, it happened on different days because it coincided with the flooding of the Nile. Once they lost, now think about how genius this is. They would look up in the sky, the stars don't change, right?
Right.
Once they lost sight of the star Sirius, and I'm serious about this.
Okay.
Once they lost sight of Sirius, they knew 70 days later was Repet Renpet. They knew that 70 days after losing sight of Sirius, that the water was coming, the Niles would flood.
Wow.
How crazy.
Jeez, I wonder if they know what the lottery numbers are going to be next week. This has been a slice, not the show, totally useless information with Nick and Roy. I'm not going anywhere. According to Slurp.com, the U.S. administration banned the sale of sliced bread in 1943 during the time of World War II. The move was intended to forbid ancillary charges since the cost of flour had gone up in order to prevent an increase in the final consumer's cost of bread. So they said, well, never mind, no one gets bread. So they banned the sale of sliced bread in January 1943.
No, that pretty much wrecked like Subways, no sandwiches.
No sandwiches, yeah, exactly. That fact is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, it wasn't in 1943. They banned it.
1940, right. It was actually banned.
That's right. It's been a slice.
This one I love. You think of Viking men. Nick thinks of them all the time.
That's right.
Like when he thinks of the carrot in the supermarket. Nick's a little sick in the head.
A little?
Nick, it's not a disease, okay?
No,
I
it's
just
not.
want you to know that. It's okay.
No, come on. I mean, no, go on. Continue with your
Well,
fact.
Viking men, big, strong, brawny men, right?
Yes.
That's what we think.
Yes.
Well, get ready, Nick, and don't get too excited. Viking men were actually very vain. They usually colored their hair. They dyed their hair blonde using like lemon juice and things like that and
Yeah.
the sun to dye their hair blonde. They cut their beards and dyed their beards blonde. They had combs, tweezers, and what they called ear spoons to clean their ears in their little kits that they would carry with them because it was very important. In fact, Viking men for their time showered or bathed 10 times more frequently than their European neighbors.
Wow. So these big, strong European Vikings were quite dainty,
Yes, yes.
and they pampered
They
themselves.
couldn't figure out.
Now, you remember the alphabet, don't you? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You remember the alphabet, right?
I was really not good at it, Nick. That's why I learned it in Mandarin.
Hey, there's a chain of restaurants up here, Chinese restaurants called Mandarin Restaurant. So you were wondering about that. So what is the last letter of the alphabet?
Z.
Yeah, you call it Z. Up here in Canada, we call it Z. Okay.
Z.
Z.
Yes.
Z. So you're thinking, okay, well, the last letter in the alphabetical order is Z, right? So you think, well, that has to be the last letter that was added to our alphabet, right? Make sense?
You're gonna say no to it. I know. Go ahead, Nick.
The answer is no. Z
I know.
Z is not the last letter of the alphabetical order because it was actually the letter J. In the
What?
Roman alphabet, the English alphabet's J wasn't a letter. It was just a fancier way of writing the letter I called a swash.
Kind of wrecks the song, doesn't it?
Yeah. A, B, C, D, E,
A
F,
B C
G,
D E F G
H, I, swash.
X Z
No,
Y
no,
K
no.
J.
No, Z is still the last letter of the alphabet, but it's not the last letter that was added to the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, swash, K, L, M, N, O, P. Swash.
There you go.
Okay.
Very good.
All
Very,
right.
very good.
Very
and
good.
in tune, I want you to know.
Well, thank you very much.
Easter Island. those weird looking statues, the ones that look like Nick.
Oh, those, yes, of course. They look
Actually, come to think of it,
Listen, they look like me in a Vikings hat. That's what it looks like.
in fact, there's one on Easter Island with an ear spoon hanging out of it. But
That's not
Okay.
okay. Yes, go on.
Easter Island has
Yeah.
those freaky statues, right?
Yeah.
Some of them weigh 14 tons. That's 28,000 pounds. Now, that's insane. And they were all moved. They didn't just carve a rock that was there. They carved it and moved it. Some of them, hundreds of miles. The whole island is extremely small,
Right.
but get ready. There are 887 of these. When we see pictures of Easter Island, it's normally like 5 or 6 that you see.
Yeah.
You think there's a few of these things. There's 887 that they've found to date on this tiny island.
Well,
It's crazy.
earlier I was talking about in our geography section, I was talking about the Bermuda Islands, right? But the Bermuda Islands are not just one island. They're 181 islands. They consist of 181 islands. So very much like Bermuda, but it's over 800. Wow. Amazing. Here's my
crazy, right?
here's my teaser. She filed for divorce because he didn't provide enough of this for her. In ancient Turkey, if a man didn't provide enough coffee for his wife, she could actually use this as grounds for divorce.
What?
Now this didn't last long, this custom, because drinking coffee became illegal in the following century, with penalties of beating or even death if caught.
No, wait a second. So if you didn't bring home enough coffee, she could divorce you.
That's right.
But then years later, coffee would become illegal.
That's right.
Thus, marriage meant absolutely nothing.
That's right.
And since then, same thing.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you see what I did there? It's grounds for divorce. Thank you very much.
So I guess like the guys who owned Starbucks had happy marriages.
They did. Yeah, and you know what? There was another grounds for divorce because he had a little latte on the side.
Yeah, you had a little latte or a little hot chocolate, if you know what I mean. But listen,
Or a little Americana. Oh.
could you imagine the wife?
Yeah.
You bring home the bacon. Huh.
Or he brings home decaf coffee. What the hell is this?
You bring home
Decaf coffee.
What the hell?
You're not a real man. You're not a real Viking.
Okay, the Tower of Pisa.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of misconception about this tower.
I've heard many of them. Yeah. Well, what's
Yes,
what's
some people claim that it was built that way.
okay.
Now, this is not true, and I want to clear up these misconceptions
Okay.
with this totally useless information.
All right.
The Tower of Pisa was originally built straight, and it was only 2 stories. Okay?
Okay.
I know I'm telling one story, but the Pisa was 2
It was
stories.
2 stories. Okay, I'm keeping track here. I'm writing this down.
Keeping track of the stories?
Yes.
Okay. Now, later on, they would build another 2 stories on top of it.
Okay.
That was fine. As I guess the person got more wealthy and or somebody else bought it and needed more space or wanted a more impressive tower, they built the additional, I think, 5 more stories on top of that.
Oh, really?
That's when the problem happened. They got another 2 stories up, and the clay, soft clay that the area has,
Yeah.
gave way, and the tower listed. But it stopped. And the builder said, we can't straighten it up, but it doesn't seem to be falling down. So they said, leave it. It's fine. And it has leaned ever since.
Wow. So it wasn't anything like, listen, I don't think this is straight. I'm going to take the tools. I'm going to make sure it's not straight.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much in that dialect.
Yeah, totally. Listen, I'm Italian. I can make fun of it. All right. So put down your keyboards. Don't email us at nickandroy.com. Actually, you can. You should go to nickandroy.com and click on contact us.
What's in the mailbag? What's in the mail?
This is from Yolanda from Windsor, Ontario. And she says, "Oh, dear Nick and Roy, we love listening to your show. We listen every weekend on the station CKLW. That's right. We're all over Canada, coast to coast to coast on the iHeartRadio Talk Network. And CKLW is in Windsor, Ontario, which is about 4 hours west of Toronto." She writes, "We wondered what you guys look like when we listen to you on the radio, so we went to your website, nickandroy.com, and wow, were we surprised."
Is that a good thing?
Let's see. You guys don't look like that on the radio.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true. We're actually very odd looking people.
Yes, we are. And no, what you see on the website, that's just the cartoon versions of us. If you want to see our actual pictures, go to nickandroy.com and you'll find out what we look like in high school. Maybe the cartoon pictures look better. I don't know. So let's see.
There was a picture of us for the newsletter. You see that
That's
picture?
true. That's right. Yeah, on the newsletter.
That's
Yeah.
right there, yeah.
That was.
So go to nickandroy.com. You can actually make fun of us.
Yes, well, so I don't know if Yolanda liked what we looked like, but she said she was surprised. Was that a good thing? Was it a pleasant surprise? Or, oh, you look like that? So anyway, we don't look like that on the radio. So here's my question. With all this talk about going back to the moon, and I wondered how expensive it is to be buried on the moon. Okay, I guess she has some plans. Maybe her husband isn't bringing the coffee home like he should. I don't know.
Maybe he's looking to bring home the cheese. Isn't the moon made out of cheese?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, Yolanda, there are companies actually that have sold space to go into space for memorial flights. So you can leave your cremated human remains of your loved one on the moon for a minimum price of $13,000.
13 grand? I thought it would be more than that.
That's
and if the moon is made out of cheese, it would be your ashes a la mode.
Wait, isn't a la mode with ice cream?
Oh, it is with ice cream.
Wow.
It would be ashes fondue.
I beg your pardon. There's no swearing on this podcast. Oh, fondue.
It's Italian, Nick. It's Italian.
It's fondue,
Fondue.
Yeah, that's right.
Fondue.
That's what they said when they built the Tower of Pisa. They said, fondue, we'll leave it the way it is.
Isn't fondue French for being buried on the moon?
Yeah, fondue. You know what? I don't think it's actually cheese. It's anything melted over this little thing. Anyway, maybe we'll do that the next time we do food on Totally Useless
I guess if
Information.
it's French, it's a la mold. MOLD.
Isn't that something that the longer something ages, the better it is? Just like cheese and wine? Just like us.
Look at me.
Yeah, well, yes, I look at you and I think of cheese and wine. But then again, you know
I
what?
look at you and I think of Limburger.
It's like, if you were a tree, what would you be? It's like, when I look at you, what kind of cheese do I look like to you? You know, they say that.
Look at you.
Yeah, no, what do you about it? Go ahead. What did you say?
I say, I look at you and I think of Swiss cheese because I need you like a hole in the head.
Okay. You know, they say that, the more cheese ages, the better it is. But then I realized as the more we age, we start to smell like most of those cheeses.
Smell like cheese.
Wow. What's your mailbag this week?
What caught me is the name Harley. Harley.
Okay.
From the French Quarter, New Orleans.
Okay.
He starts off very simply. He says, if you guys come to New Orleans, look us up. We love your show, and so do so many of our friends. My wife and I would love for you to come to the French Quarter and let us show you what Creole is all about. Well, Harley, I hope your wife's name isn't Honda. Harley, I have been to New Orleans.
Okay.
I have been New Orleans. You have to say it like New Orleans.
Yeah.
I have been there, and I'm going to tell you this. New Orleans French Quarter is the best place to have oysters in the world. We were there for maybe like 4 or 5 days. I honestly believe that my wife and I polished off at least 9 or 10 dozen different types of oysters.
Wow.
In a couple of days. My God, Nick, they're awesome. They're awesome. And it's such a fun place. The girls walk down the streets.
there are people up on top of the second floors, and they have beads, and the girls lift their shirts up, and the people throw the beads down at them.
Right.
Which is great because I stayed on street level. I got a much better view.
That's right. Yeah, and then they told you to beat it.
Nick and Roy will continue with totally useless information. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
Today on the show, we talked about geography, we talked about garden, we talked about history. It's time for the news.
And now, from around the corner and around the world, this is TUI News.
A woman in Boulder County, which is in Colorado, was taken to the hospital after a herd of cows attacked her.
Thank God it wasn't Florida.
That's right. Did you hear what I said? It was a herd of cows. She was running on a trail when a witness said that about 30 cows swarmed her and stomped on her.
Mm-hmm.
They
stomped her?
They stomped on her. It happened on the Colton Trailhead when Vivian said she was biking down the hill when the runner was jogging towards it. That's when she saw a herd of cows. She saw a herd of cows. Okay, I want to make sure I got that right. And she screamed and was just down on the ground. They were just trampling her.
Of course she screamed. There's 30 cows coming at her.
That's right. And that's what I heard. At that time, I thought, oh my gosh, did I just watch her die? But thankfully, that wasn't the case. So Boulder County Parks and Open Space said the runner was hurt and taken to the hospital to be treated. So thank goodness she's going to be okay. But
she's alive.
But there's a sign on the trail that says, quote, "Give cows space. They can be aggressive."
You need to give the cows the right of way.
They do. That's right. I mean, when you have 30 of them, right? So we want to inform the public, according to officials.
And you know how they have signs, Nick, and it looks like a stick figure with a circle, so it looks like a person in a wheelchair?
That's right.
Well, these signs say, watch out for, and then it says, and there's a bow and a vine. Bovine.
Bovine.
Nick, I have another question while we're on this subject, and we'll get back to the cow lady.
Yes.
So you often wonder, you look at cars, that have a sticker in the window.
That's right.
It's this blue placard.
Right.
That, of course, has the stick figure with the circle, like the person in a wheelchair.
That's right.
My question is, why do we need the stick figure with the wheelchair? 90% of the people are getting out of their cars. They are not in wheelchairs. That's number one.
Right.
Number two, who else is going to hang this blue placard from their car? Are they making fun of them by drawing these stick figures?
No, you see, the disabled people you're talking about, they stopped calling them handicapped like 20 years ago. But okay.
I have one, by the way.
Yeah? Because
I have two fractured vertebrae in my back. So technically I have a broken back.
Wow. That explains a lot, but I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, it does. I'm just upset because I think they should have a picture of me holding my back on the sticker. With all the technology today, we have to have stick figures. I mean, a 3-year-old could draw one of them.
You don't, maybe they did. You don't want to offend anybody that's fat and in a wheelchair, I guess. I don't know.
No, let's get back to the bovine trampoline.
The cow ladies. So the cow lady is okay. So livestock can be very aggressive, according to officials. Just like a mama bear or elk or moose, a mama cow is going to be very protective of its young because it's calving season. So there are a lot of calves, right?
Yeah.
It didn't look like the jogger was doing anything wrong. She stayed on the trail, but they said that if someone approaches the cows quickly, the animals may perceive it as a threat and then trample her. And then, of course, throughout this whole incident, a couple of cows fell. And you know what happened? They called the ambulance because they declared ground beef.
Listen, one time I almost got trampled by cows.
Yeah.
To add insult to injuries, they squirted me with milk.
Oh.
And I'll tell you the truth, she should learn from this experience. Now, if you're a jogger,
yes,
and you're in Colorado,
yes,
and you're jogging on one of these pits,
yes,
and you hear the trampling feet
yes,
of a herd of cows coming,
right,
just turn around, face them face to face, and scream, "Move over!"
You would think that with the bells around their necks, like, you know, that she would have heard. Wait a minute. They wear bells around their. That's right. Cows wear bells around their necks, don't they? You know why?
Maybe.
Well, you know why they wear bells around their necks? Because their horns don't work. Thanks for listening. That's
Do you
all.
think that woman's name was Elsie?
I don't know. I don't know what her name is. I don't know. They don't say what her name is. She was just a jogger. She's going to be okay. We're making fun, but she's going to be okay. She's in hospital. That's all the time.
Her name was Elsie Vine.
Elsie Vine.
And she had a son named Bo.
Bo Vine. Okay.
Bo Vine.
Yes,
Bo
exactly.
Vine.
No, her son's name was Chuck.
Chuck. Chuck. Sirloin and Chuck.
Hear ye, the king represent to you Sirloin.
Introducing Lord and Lady.
Lord and Lady Loin. Wow. That's all the time, thankfully, that we have for this episode of Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. We will scour the internet to find out more totally useless information just for you.
So until then, as you can see, we're not waiting for you to have fun. We're having fun ourselves.
Absolutely. I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy.
Thanks for listening.
Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy was brought to you in part by Tom's Place. For the finest in men's fashion, Tom's Place will suit you. Located in Toronto at 190 Baldwin Street in the heart of Kensington Market. Or visit toms-place.com.